Right, hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Bit of a change of plans today. Unfortunately, Storm Barra has scuppered a few plans. However, brought forward something that I've been testing out now for a while, and I've liked it that much that I've actually bought a second one. They're really surprised me. So before I start, a massive thank you to Ben Turner for suggesting this. I quite enjoy going off suggestions from you guys, and you know, I've got my ducks in order this year. I've been actually writing down stuff so that I can remember, and I can also thank you guys for your suggestions. Now, over the last probably 2 years, I've only ever worn one belt, and that is the Hawk Rigger belt. The grapple belt is absolutely amazing, and it's all I've really needed ever since I tested this. These are UK made rigger style belts, and they're really good. Definitely recommend have a look through my videos and check this one out when I'm done. But that's all that I've worn. It's all that I've felt that I've really needed to wear. It does everything that I needed to do, but I'm always happy to look at other things, and Ben mentioned the arcade belt, which I've got to be truthful, I've never seen these belts before. I'd never even heard of arcade before Ben mentioned them. So I bought one, and I've got to say I quite like it. It's really nice. In fact, I bought two, so as I say. Now, the arcade belts are an elastic style belt, which as soon as I got this and started to wear it, took me back instantly to the 80s. Everyone of a certain age grew up with a belt, and it had one of those like little clasps that you slotted together, and you know, it was the 80s. Everybody had one of those, so there was a bit of a nostalgia hit from this, and you know, so much so that I bought a second one. So what I'll do is I'll turn the camera around so that we can take a closer look at this, and probably a little bit of my midriff because I'm wearing one at the moment as well. While I'm doing that, if you enjoy this content at any point, please feel free to hit the like and subscribe button. That would be amazing. Hey, even share it if you like, that'd be cool too. But for now, let's turn the camera around and take a closer look. So this is one of the belts. When it arrives, this is the packaging that it comes on. Now, I bought mine from Amazon. You know, there'll be some links in the bottom if you'd like to see more from these. And this is clearly retail packaging. You can see that this is designed to be hung up. Packaging is reasonably nice. I think it's slightly over-engineered, but it's pretty cool. You know, there's a press stud on the back here, which you unwrap so that you can get this out. Again, you know, it's just packaging. And then here is the belt itself. Now, there are a couple of different versions. Well, actually, there's lots of different versions as such. So this is the 1.5 inch webbing version. There is also a slimmer version. So when you're checking, I'd always recommend make sure you check the width of the belt. So the first one that I put into the basket, only purely by accident, by double checking it before I hit purchase, I'd actually bought the slimmer version. So that's one thing to check. And then as far as colours, you know, they've got lots of different colours for you to choose from. And then there are also different clasps. So this clasp here almost looks like an old-fashioned style belt buckle, but the clasp on here, it's a press clasp like you get with a lot of different ones. You know, it just slides in, you press it and it opens. The clasps on here are made from a nylon material, and it does seem reasonably tough, although, you know, I've not tried to break it, but there's a little bit of give in it, but you have to apply a lot of pressure. I think for what you're wanting to use it for at the end of the day, it's a belt, and that pull tension there to try and pull it apart, it doesn't pull apart, which, you know, is pretty good. Across the top here, it's also nice and thin, so hopefully if you can see there, I probably should have brought out something just as a size comparison. So this probably measures about 2 inches by 1.5 inches, and as far as the thickness concerned, It's probably about maybe a third of an inch thick. If you're like me and you have a little bit of a punch, sometimes you'll find that kind of goes over your belt loop and it just starts to irritate you slightly. Sorry, it's a little windy at the moment. But it sits reasonably flat, so when it is when it's against you and you've got it on, you certainly don't feel as though this is digging into you. But around, so it's sewn on this end, which is the end that you pass through all of your loops, or at least that's the way that I do it, and that's where that's sewn. There is a small little arcade logo here, and then on the back, if I open this just to remind myself, the elastic webbing that's on here is 90% nylon and 10% and then 10% rubber, and it's good. I mean, there's a good bit of stretch in this, but it's also really the elasticity. It has a good kind of retention and wanting it to bring it back in. Then on this end you have a slide, so if you want to make this longer or shorter, you pull it through there. Now when you're pulling this through, it's actually really tight, which I guess is a good thing. I'm sure they probably went through a few renditions of this side of the buckle to make sure it doesn't pull through, so that it just gets slacker and slacker. But on the end there is a little, I don't believe it's actually leather, I think it's probably a faux leather. And then there's also a little elastic loop there which will help to keep this in. As far as measurements are concerned, it fits up. Oh, I'm not pushing that in properly. Oh, it's because it's upside down. It fits up to a 40-inch waist. Now I'm a 36-inch waist, and I've got an extra, say, 4 or 5 inches there spare on the end, and I find that it fits me really well. So if I just put that there for a second. Here is the other version that I've got on. This is again, it's similar. In fact, if I just take this off, so the two versions that I went for, I went for a very neutral palette. I tend to find that browns and greys, they go with a lot of different. Well, generally they tend to go with everything, don't they? So I have this is the other version that I've got, and hopefully you'll be able to see. Oh, if I just put that around, there is a slightly different clasp on this, and this looks like more of a traditional kind of push clasp type thing that you get on the bottom of bags and that sort of thing. Find this one is just a little bit more low key as well. And it's also quite a bit thinner. So again, you know, when this is there, if you have a bit of a punch that goes over it, it certainly doesn't dig into your stomach. Now the other one definitely doesn't, but this one doesn't even less, even though it doesn't, which doesn't make sense. Too many doesn'ts in one sentence. But this again, you know, it's exactly the same. It's 1.5 inch webbing. There is the little logo. Now on this version, rather than having the faux leather logo, there's just a bit of nylon webbing, and then the same here on the end. So if you're after something maybe that again is just a little bit lighter. Now I probably should have checked the weight on here, so I'll put the weight down here in a second, but you know, when we're talking about weight with these two belts, it really is next to nothing. They probably weigh half, maybe a third of what a traditional leather belt weighs. Now I certainly think these belts will probably suit the vast majority of you, and I think that's because of the ways in which you can use these. At the end of the day, it is still an elastic belt, so when I've been testing this, generally I've been testing it with a lot of the shorts and a lot of the trousers that I wear. They're just, you know, khaki style chino trousers. They're not particularly heavy. I did go out with some BDUs with these on, and you know, that's a heavier, tougher material, and you just find that this starts to just creep down and down and down. If you're wanting to put any sort of weight onto this, you certainly couldn't use this as a gun belt, which, I mean, you're probably laughing at the fact that I even mentioned that, but just in case you were wondering, no, it would just flap around. If you wanted to attach keys, that sort of stuff, probably not very useful for that. But I think if you're the type of person like me that, you know, has an office job where I sit for 8 hours a day, these are actually really comfortable, and it surprised me just how comfortable these are. Your trousers, or, you know, whatever it is that you're wearing, shorts, maybe even a skirt, you know, I should mention that these are particularly unisex. There are lots of different versions and colours that you can have with these. But when you sit down, your trousers naturally want to just kind of let themselves out slightly, and this does a great job of allowing them to do that. But then when you get back up, because of the elasticity in that 10% rubber, it just sucks it back in, and they're great. I probably need more of these for occasions when I go out and end up pigging myself on an all-you-can-eat buffet. But they're very good, and I'm genuinely really impressed with these and happy that I've got two. I'm sure I'll probably end up getting quite a few more. I've done I've done lots of car rides in these. Again, I think a lot of that comes down to if you have to sit a lot during the day, and you sometimes find that, you know, belts, they do dig into your belly a little bit, then yes, these will definitely be the belts for you. Again, massive shout out and thank you to Ben Turner for suggesting that I look into these. I'd love to hear more from you guys. Are there other things that you'd like me to possibly test out, or possibly you'd like to hear my opinions on them? That would be I nearly dropped it then. That would have been funny. I probably should have just dropped it and then you wouldn't have noticed. But anyway, if there's anything that you'd like to see more from me, I'd love to see down in the comments. Do you own an arcade belt? I'd love to see put what you think down there as well, and then other people can read those comments and they can see your opinions as well. That would be that's kind of the whole kind of community side of it, isn't it? So as I mentioned, there'll be some affiliate links in the description below. If you choose to use those, it's just a small kickback to my channel through no extra cost to you guys. That would be awesome. And you know, it's the usual YouTube kind of thing. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. That would be awesome. But for now, stay safe, stay Moorlander and stay EDC.